So a viewer has asked me, can you use remote viewing to win the lottery? The answer is probably not. But let's look at one technique which might work. No guarantees! So, in my last film, you saw how the Delphi Corporation, Russell, Targ and Hal Puthoff, actually made hundreds of thousands of dollars by using remote viewing to predict the silver futures market. But would it work for you? So first of all, viewers, let's get the concept of looking into the future straight. This is supposedly how it works. If you can have confirmation, an emotional reaction to something in your future, in the past, you can recall the future and predict something that will happen. Everybody jumping up and down and shouting bollocks. Actually, it works. The CIA and security services use remote time viewing all the time. But please sir, what's the mechanism? What's the science behind seeing into the future? Well, I think we all have premonitions, and I think some people are better at it than others. What is a premonition? How does it work? Especially when it works out. Since Stanford research turned their remote viewing program into a CIA operation in the 60s, I believe in 2024 we're beginning to understand how our brain might be able to see into the future. And the new physics is fascinating. We are both far-field, big stuff made of millions of atoms, and also inside we're tiny stuff, we're subatomic. Of course, our atoms also exist at the quantum level, the subatomic level, which is very different. The more we study quantum physics, the more we realize that the quantum level is actually one giant connected universe. The rules of time and space are different. Maybe that's one amazing reason that us and ET can communicate over hundreds of thousands of light years, because there isn't a light year, it's instantaneous. It's all connected. So can we mere mortals tap into that quantum connectedness? I think we do already. Consciousness evokes a oneness, a connectivity to a wider universe. So that's enough basic science, and it was very basic. How do you win the lottery? Well, there's a problem. When Stanford Research did the remote viewing program for the CIA, they couldn't answer some questions. They can't read text or look at numbers. They can only have a future memory of an emotional response. And that was clearly demonstrated in my last film about the psychic pancake, somewhere up there. Because the pancake was such an unusual event, to put on somebody's hand, the psychic viewer remembered it in the future. And Russell Targ explained how that worked. He called the pancake event associative remote viewing. It wasn't a number, it was a strange thing that you would remember, putting a wet pancake on your hand. A memorable thingy. So, don't try this at home, folks. Do not bet the farm on it. But could it be possible to have a future emotional memory of something that you could predict in the present? So as I do, I've been thinking about it for you. And here's one possible scenario. And you can tweak this technique I'm about to show you to do whatever you want. Maybe you've got a bet with a friend. Maybe you could devise an emotional memory of the sequence of numbers of a large lottery. I think that would be hard. So in this scenario, I'm going to predict for you the outcome of a football game, a soccer result. Imagine the FA Cup final is about to be played next week. And you could go down to the betting shop and probably get odds of about 2-1 of predicting which of the two teams would win. But you would get way bigger odds if you could go down to the betting shop and say the exact score of the winning match. I think they would give you, say, 10 to 1. £100 would turn into £1,000 if you got the exact score. So let me explain this technique. Just before Christmas, it might come in handy. So here's the scenario. It's a week before the match, and say it's Tottenham Hotspur playing Chelsea, and your local betting shop would offer you 10 to 1 if you could predict the exact match result, say 5 to 2 or 1 to 0 or whatever it is. You would get a 10 to 1 prize, and you are going to do it. So what you do in the present, or week before the match, is nothing. You clear your mind, but you think hard of a strange emotional thing that will happen to you next week. Strange you asked me that, Simon. It's got nothing to do with the FA Cup final, but I remember my wife gave me 3 cookies. But then, after she gave me 3 cookies, she took one away, leaving me with 2 cookies. What's that got to do with the cup final? Oh, hang on a minute. 3, 2? Could that be the result? I'm going to go down the betting shop and place 3 to Tottenham Hotspur, 2 to Chelsea, and see if I win. Scroll forward a whole week and they play the game, and the result is 3-2 to Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, you won your bet. You collect your winnings and buy a bag of cookies that you give to your wife. She gives you 3 cookies, but then takes one away, and you're really upset. And remember that event. Is everybody keeping up with this technique? It does work, but it's a bit weird. You are going to imagine in the past something that will happen in the future because you can remember it. The cookies, 3 taken away, leaving 2, was the result of the FA Cup final, and you won the bet. So let's just summarize. Maybe an emotional event in the future can be remembered in the past, and you can use that emotional trigger of taking away cookies or whatever works for you to actually remember a numerical sequence, 3-2, and win a bet. Questions in the comments. Have I made it clear? Do you need clarification? Do you think it's worth trying, or do you think it's a load of bollocks? Let me know, and Merry Christmas.